you hear and you see all these, especially in the last 5-10 years, right? You see all these rappers, and it's usually the rappers, because you don't see this with the country. I mean, unless I don't watch their news, but the pop singers, the R&B singers, the house music people, you don't see what you see in hip hop. In hip hop, you really have this hecatomb of rappers being murdered one by one. And it made me really think about the whole narrative and the whole all these people who are telling you that you know, all these people who are living by the slogan. And there's a lot of slogans. You got BLM, Black Lives Matters. You got Black Excellence. You got people calling themselves king, people calling themselves king, queen. All these stuff. You got like, you're gonna have all these people marching for the lives of black people in the US. And at the same time, the same people who are talking about systemic racism and everything, all odds against them, etc., are killing each other all the time. And they don't have no respect for the lives of their own kind, their own brothers. And whenever you call them out on that, they have millions of excuses. Oh, it's because this. Oh, it's because we need to get. Oh, it's because we don't. And my fear with the way the American culture is that from my small 48 years on this planet, I've realized that a lot of times it starts there and then it trickles down to France and then the rest of Europe because of the sadly hegemonic American culture that is everywhere through their movies, through everywhere, through the fact that they control media and etc. And the violence is so much glorified in hip hop that I remember when I started rapping when I was 15, 16. When I started rapping, I was in school. I was with in school with a bunch of mostly white kids. Some of us were into music, and most of us were kids of wealthy parents. And it's only around 17, 18 that I really started, going to the parties and then mingling with the hip hop crowd in Paris. And most of the people from the hip hop crowd, not all of them, but most of them were from the suburbs. So it was us coming from the good neighborhoods, going to mingle with people around the same interest, which was the Zulu culture, the b-boy culture, hip hop, music, rap, graffiti, beat making. We were all passionate about it. And very early, I started having people telling me that, once they started understanding that I lived in a nice neighborhood. Like when I was saying, oh, I live there, because in the beginning I had no idea that it was a scene to have money. I mean, I didn't have money. My parents had money. But so early, I was just completely candid about it, naive even. Yeah, where you live? Oh, I live there. Oh, what you doing with? Why you live with the rich people? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I didn't choose. I mean, ah, is your mom works in one of those apartments? I was like, no, my mom owns one of those apartments. And then early, people started hating. People started like looking at me like, yeah, I mean, you're not real. We keep it real. Like, we from the ghetto. Like, what are you doing in hip hop? What do you know about the streets? What? I was like, I mean, I love the music. And it's so interesting when you go to the fundamentals of what hip hop is, of course. The voice of the streets, the voice of the disadvantaged, etc., etc. Yeah, that was like 40 years ago, or 20 years ago. I don't know. In the end of the 70s, early 80s. Like, since then, it just became a multi-billion-dollar business that everybody does. And personally, I'm an advocate that, listen, if you want to do polka tomorrow, you don't need to be Russian. That's my opinion. Urban Street Spot, what up? How are you? I believe that if you want to do compa, you don't need to be Haitian. I believe that if you want to do Congolese music, you can be Japanese. Personally, I don't care. Some people, they care. I'm speaking for me. I don't care. I believe that if you want to keep culture alive, you have to share it. And if you want your culture to stay around long enough, you have to understand that at a point you're going to share it to other people, because music, in the contrary to humans, music has no passport. Music just go from one region to another, will influence other people and inspire other people. So you might do a song and you don't know who you're inspiring. You just put your song in, it's out there. Once it's out there, maybe whatever you did might be the birth of something new, a new style. I personally birthed a lot of subgenres that became their own styles. And I never told people, I follow this and these are the rules and only those people can do it and whatever, because I understood that even if, like Urban Street Spot says, you have to respect the origin, of course, but even the origin itself is never completely what we think, because once you start going to the base of something, you realize that it doesn't come from maybe what you think, because you're going to be like, yeah, that came from that person. But then when you ask that person, hey, okay, where it came from, it never comes from just like, oh, I was there and God spoke to me. No, I was listening to this, I came from that culture. So then you continue going and you realize that the origins can be clear, but they can also be multiple. They can also, so it's the same as when I have a conversation with the people of the Zouk or the Kizomba or Komba. When do we stop the origins? Do we stop at in the 80s when those genres were popular, or do we continue a little bit to when the slave arrived in the different islands and created and brought the different genres from where they came from, or do we continue? So because as long as you continue, you're gonna have the roots of the origins. And so how do you define the origin? Is it a specific date when, like, the name of a subgenre that becomes a genre is born? Is hip hop like New York, Cool Herc, master of ceremony in the park performing in two turntables of some disco songs or some funk songs. But then if it's on some funk songs, do the origin also take account the funk, do the origins take account the fact that actually the first one was from Jamaican origins, meaning that maybe all these came from dancehall, etc., etc. Just like reggaeton, for example. When you take reggaeton, for example, a lot of people, when they say reggaeton, they will say Puerto Rico. They will say Daddy Yankee. They will say all the legends of reggaeton. But if you continue digging a little bit and you go back in time, you will realize that from the origins of reggaeton, you first have what we call the dembow. And even if dembow was popular and became popular in Puerto Rico, it's actually the Panamanians that brought it to Puerto Rico. And the Panamanians, it all started from a Spanish version of the song Dembow by Shada. So it goes back to Jamaica. So, and that's why it's called reggaeton. So are the origins of reggaeton and the owners of the genre the Puerto Ricans or their fathers from? So to me, I believe that everybody can do anything I'm a person that I love to know what I'm doing, and I love to dig to the origins of stuff. But I also understand that most people don't care. Most people don't care, especially as long as a genre evolves into its different iterations. Because like the hip hop that I grew on has nothing to do with the hip hop of today. I mean, the rap of today. It used to be sample. Now it's a lot of Fruity Loops, trap beats, and I don't have a problem with it. I just say that it's different. And so I mean, all this to say that back in the days, because I'm diverging, but back in the days, the people had all these people who had nothing to do with the origins of rap. They were all French, born in France, most of them, or just arrived like me, sons of immigrants who arrived from Africa, not by force, and just came to Paris with their kids, or had their kids in Paris to work or to find a better life or to find a different life. And another part were people coming from the West Indies who, yes, were descendants of slave of the French colonial empire. So none of those people had nothing to do with rap. But still, they were like keeping it real. Oh, rap is this. Rap is supposed to be from the streets. Rap is supposed to be like that. Rap is supposed to be in French. And I was looking at them. I was like, what you mean it's supposed to be in France? We're in France. I was like, I don't care where we are. I discovered rap with Public Enemy and Beastie Boys. That's the first two cassettes that I bought. Beastie Boys and Public Enemy. It Takes a Nation, It Takes a Nation and License to Ill. And then LL and etc. And everything that I've been hearing when it comes to rap was in English. So when I started rapping, to me, because I speak, from when I was 11 or 12, I was speaking fluent English. I started writing my raps and making beats, copying New York hip hop, because to me, that was the Mecca. But those people, because they were in France and they wanted to be territorial and make everything their own, They were hating because I was rapping in English. And they was like, yeah, we have to keep it street. And I was like, listen to me at a point. So there's something I always felt forever about music. To me, when to me, art is art. So if you want to do anything that inspires you, go ahead. That's how I feel. And if anybody tells you that you can't, who cares? As long as you find somebody who's willing to listen to what you're doing, it's okay. I've performed hip hop shows in the 90s in front of the ghettoest people, like people that everybody was scared of. What up, Mountain? People that everybody was scared of because you knew they beat up people. And with my team, we've performed in front of people that were happy to see us, right? What up, MJ? But those 4 or 5 guys that everybody was scared of, they were in front of the stage while we were performing, and in the back you could hear everybody cheering for us. But a lot of people too were scared because those people were in front and they were like, what you know about the street? What you know about hip hop? And the whole show, and we had to do the show, continue our show. And then once we came out, we were walking to the subway. Those people were following us by car and threatening us. Like, yeah, what you know about the street, huh? You want us to show you street? Da 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 da. And we were just kids minding our business, trying to do our show, trying to express ourselves using art. And those people were like, this is our art, not for you rich kids. And it's funny because most of these guys are in their 50s now. And most of these guys came to my shows with their children. That when their daughters were 15, 16, 18, they came to ask for autographs for their kids. And when we had conversations, I was like, so why did you hate me like back in the days? Oh, you know, you were not from the street, da 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 da. We were trying to make it, and like we were pissed that you got money, da da da. I was like, it was not me, it was my parents. Yeah, but you went to the good schools and da da da. You come to our turf to perform, and I was like, guys, you guys have money now, right? Yes, we do. So did you put your kids in the ghetto in school, or did you put them in private school like where I was? And now we put them in private schools. Where would we put them in the ghetto? I was like, so you understand that the kids from the ghetto can hate your kids? And then they were like, nah, because we come from the ghetto. And our kids, yeah, they're respected because whatever. And I was like, yeah, but my father came from walking barefoot in Africa, having nothing, to just climbing up. It's just one generation before yours. So what's the difference? And they were like, yeah, we never seen it like that. But then back in the days, we wanted to stab you hard. I was like, yo! And to me, it is I'm not gonna say happy birthday yet, but the little queen, much love. So you know, and I'd love to have your opinion about this. To me, when I saw all these rappers just being slain one by one, I asked myself questions about the whole hip hop culture in general, but then even black culture in North America in general. Why do people want to make a little bit of money? Like when you make 10% or 20% or 30% on, or 50-50 from sales, right, of your records. Let's say you make $500,000, which is a lot of money. Most people make that in a whole life. Why spend it on expensive chains when it's not like you're a billionaire? But why spend all that on chains, jewelry that is enriching people that are not even your culture? Why you always want to send your money to, and why you want to dress in Balenciaga? That's not an African name. Like, why everybody is talking about the culture, this, the culture that, us, black excellent, etc. But they're all dressed in Gucci. Those are LVMH. Those are, the money goes to France. And I told you 1,000 times about, I love Black Panther. I'm gonna see the next one again, etc. Like everybody, I'll be there, Wakanda forever. But I don't forget that the money is not going to the black community. I understand it's entertainment. It's great because the director has a lot of respect for the culture and he's trying to romanticize a country that doesn't exist anyway. But this, when you watch the movie, you love the imagery and the way they depict a rich Africa. So can only love it. But in the end, I'm like I always said, if that movie was made in Congo with Congolese actors, and it was the same actors, but they were all Congolese, and it was the same movie, looking exactly the same, with the same budget, everything, a lot of people wouldn't have gone see it because it's an African movie. They would be like, eh. And it's like, so why spend all these money on jewelry? Why only glorify violence in all these videos with people with guns and etc.? And why and rest in peace TakeOff, but because this must be horrible for his uncle and his two uncles. But why, having made it, have all these money and go play dice in the ghetto? And why nobody wants to ask those questions? Because it feels like we love to be the victims. We love to complain about everything, but we never want to look at our own flaws dead in the eye. We only love to, complain about this and that. Oh, Kanye's right. Oh, that, the media, this, that. Oh, the record companies are screwing us, etc. But whenever somebody does an independent record company to put the money back in society or something, he either gets killed by his own, or like a lot of them, all of these artists are not killed by the corporate media, the white cops. Or not all these rappers have been killed by their own people. And listen, I mean, you have, the American culture is so, to me, they're thinking backwards. I see a lot of there's some rappers that I've followed before, and I loved the style, I loved the music, I love everything, but they were not popping. And then at a point, after a few years, I mean, I follow some of them. I follow them on YouTube. I was watching their vlogs, but at a point, they get signed, and all of a sudden, they have to look like strippers. Like they go to the BBL, they have huge booties all of a sudden, and they all dress naked on stage, and everybody think it's normal. And then I go look at the Taylor Swift, the pop artists, and everybody else, and everybody's just respecting themselves. Only the Black Americans are in this strange culture of, decadence. Decadence. I don't know how you pronounce it in English, and to me, I'm like, and rest in peace. Da, 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 da. I'm like, are you gonna ask yourself the right questions one day? Because me, all I'm asking myself is those questions. Like, what is wrong with this culture of faking it till you make it? Cars, drugs. Do you understand that the heroes of these culture are people that have 12 kids with 12 different women? Listen, even the ones that are clean and the Nick Cannons, like, they still have like 10 kids with 10 different models. And people are, oh no, but maybe it's because, no. I don't see how, it doesn't compute to me. Listen, I come from Africa. I was born in Africa, but I grew up in France. So my culture is more, French, Judeo-Christian culture. Because that's where I was raised. I'm a Buddhist. But if I told my mom, listen, just the fact that I have 2 kids, I only have 2, with 2 different women, my parents are already looking at me like, yeah, you're not like your cousin Joel. He has, all his kids with the same wife, Dahlia. Like, and that's how we raised you. And then you have all these people who are like heroes. And all these singers, rappers are, let me look at your comments, because listen, what the checking culture, listen, everything about this culture is backwards. You supposed to, okay, listen, explain to you my dad's life story. Born in Africa, poor, 12 brothers, half of them died. Move the ladder of society, study, etc. University, boom, wars, start going up, politics, up, make it, becomes rich, buy lands, buy houses, buy this, buy that. Another war, exile, take his kids, France, put them in prestigious university to have kids like me. And then hopefully these kids will take their kids and start from here and move this way. In the US, they come from the ghetto, and okay, you're in the ghetto, so you get the ghetto culture, etc. But your goal is to leave the ghetto, right? Once you left the ghetto, you take the ghetto with you, buy those chains, want to prove though about the chains, continue to be part of a gang, go with the gang somewhere, etc. At a point, you go to another city, and then instead of hiring cops, that's their job, private security, like people who will take care of you. No, you go with a bunch of gangsters who are armed, and you go play dice and argue with whoever, and then you guys like are not able to just say, hey, chill, and everybody just, and then so you did all that, left poverty, change the course of your bloodline, like my father did. My father changed the course of his bloodline. He could put his kids to the university. He could help his brothers and sisters, kids, his mothers, his aunties. My mom could help. They helped a lot of people. They could listen when my mother bought the 300 hectares of land in Congo. The drivers that work for us for the last 40 years, they all got plots of land in their name. They all had their own land. Yeah, you can do what you want with in there. My mom gave the possibility to these people that I know since I'm a kid. They were working for my parents when I was a kid, and then they were driving me, then they were driving my son. And they all bought them some land so that they can also start cultivating some cassava, cultivating pondu, and maybe also change their bloodline's legacy. And you go to the ghetto and get killed as a multimillionaire at 28? Is this bad luck? Is this... And I mean, I'm looking at it from outside. And from outside, it looks... I mean, when I see and nobody's perfect, when I see a Jay-Z that is arriving to billionaire status and on the way making his core team billionaires as well, but also taking a lot of people out of the hood and making them millionaires, and trying to just create this empire and buying art and thinking about the legacy and the thing he's going to leave to his kids and working this way. Look at him when Kanye went on his rant. He was silent. Whenever he goes, he's always silent. It's like, and it's not because he's trying to please other people. It's just that he's like, that's not how we're gonna make it. And you know, let me take it down to my small level. So when I was signing Zouk artist and Kizomba artist and African Coupé Décalé artist on my label back in 2003, 2004, 2005, the first thing I told every artist was, that was not this camera, but the ancestor of this camera was the GH1. I told every artist, buy a GH1. With this camera, you can shoot your own music videos. Whenever you have a show in the West Indies or in Africa, and you find a nice beach and you meet a nice boy in the club, or a nice girl, and you give them from your cachet. If you take $1,000 to go perform, take $50. Give them $50 from your cachet and shoot a video. Bring me the video, I'll put it on YouTube, or I'll make a YouTube channel for you and I'll show you how to monetize that. buy yourself a microphone. This costs $200, and this is a digital version of the microphone that was used to record the album Thriller from Michael Jackson. So you're not gonna tell me that if you do 10 shows at 1,000, so you make 10,000, you cannot invest 1,000 in a camera and 200 in a microphone and maybe 200 on a Logic and then a computer at a point. Everybody had a laptop already, and start thinking of the future when everybody was in their 20s, early 20s, 19, 20, 21. I was telling them, when you're going to be 40, when we all are going to be 40, we're going to be replaced by the next generation. So we have to start working today so that when we are replaced, we don't need to work. Money's coming from the sky. And all of them were looking at me, were telling me, yeah, he's great. And then we go to the West Indies and we start building the label. And then some new artists came, and there was this particular artist who only made 1 or 2 hits, but had that guru image and was about driving his nice car, having nice jackets, etc., wearing the chains, etc. And even in the song, they would like, yeah, we wearing this and and telling everybody, yeah, we rich, yeah, and talking about me like, these old guys, like, back then I was like, I don't know, 30 something, but apparently I was old already. Yeah, this old guy, he doesn't know shit. We this, we that, we are the future. And all the artists, they were more attracted by what he was saying than what I was saying. And all of the people who followed that guy are poor today. But all of them, they would rather, in our small level, do 5 shows and be able to buy a Gucci or a Chanel bag at 5,000, so they are able to front in front of the other poor people who also had a bag, because that's all they could afford, and everybody was eating rocks. And I was looking at them, and at that time I was living in a small studio. Even if I was generating every year 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 euros of CD sales, but I was like investing all my money in buying my old masters, buying cameras. I have like 10 cameras, buying studio equipment, buying everything that I'm using today to do this show. And everybody was looking at me like, he wants to shoot this video by himself, like, and he's been wearing the same jewelry for the last 25 years. He's poor. And I was like, what you mean I'm poor? My parents are rich. But what I learned is the next level. And all the Zouk artists, they all went one way, which was trying to impress other artists and listening to other artists about what is success, when they realized for them success was, proving to other poor people that they were richer than them. And me, I was like, yo, until you become like me, independent, all the money is not going to you. Even if you think you're making a lot of money because you made 50,000 this year, you generated 500,000 from your 50,000 album sales. You generated 500,000. You're only going to get 10% from it, plus all your shows. Yeah, you're famous. Yeah, you fucking every night. Yeah, you have groupies. Yeah. But as soon as the shows stop, it's over. And listen, you had subprime crisis 2007, destroy the market. Then you had the France terrorism, destroy the market even more because people were scared to go to the clubs. And then after that, you had the pandemic finished the whole market, and everybody stopped performing for 2 years. And for 2 years, they had no revenue because nobody had anything that they owned. So the money was going to the people who own stuff, us, and them. They own nothing. They didn't have YouTube channels. Look for every artist that was signed to me. All their videos are on my channel and generating money for me. Why are they on my channel? Because when I told them, make your channel, I'm going to shoot videos for you and we're going to put them on your channel, they all said no. We don't care about that YouTube thing. Because it was new at that time. YouTube started in 2005 and we started in 2003, the label. But I realized that, damn, all these people, they only care about showing off. They only care about showing people that they hate, that they are better than them. Listen, the people who hate me, I don't care what they think. I don't even care if they think I'm rich, if they think I'm poor. I don't care what they do. But whether in our small ecosystem or in the huge US ecosystem, I see the same thing. I see that what has been glorified is everything that is idiotic to me. Listen, I've been wearing this chain. We can go far in my photos. You will see these chains. These, I think I have photos. If I go to my photos and I type 1998, I don't know if I have photos from 1998 here. Maybe not. Let's try 2000. Okay, no, 2000, no. Maybe if I type 2003, maybe when I started my album. Okay, look. This is me when, let me find a good picture. See all. So 2003 is when my son was born. So that's almost 20 years ago now. So this is, let me find a good picture. I'm gonna find a photo. Oh, you will not imagine what I found. Dalia, I just ended up on a picture of the Crazy Ex that we talked about last week. Anyway, okay, wait, let me find a good photo. Okay, this is a photo from me in 2003 eating corn. I never remove these. So I've been wearing the same jewelry. It's not even some, I mean, they're a little bit of, I mean, it's just steel or whatever it is. I don't even know how you call these in English, but same chain, same thing. And they mean something to me, but I mean, if I had 10 million in the bank, maybe I would buy something expensive for my wife, maybe like one of those, a $2,000 bracelet, and even, yeah, maybe a bag, some stuff like that. Every time I make some crypto money, yeah, I buy her a bag or I buy something because, yeah. But for me, listen, I'd rather invest in a house, in equipment, in whatever, in a house. Like, I would, listen, if I have 10 million in the bank, before I buy myself anything crazy, I would buy houses for my brothers and sisters. Make sure that all my nieces and nephews have their education sorted. Because that's the future. But all these people in America or in the West Indies or in France or in Africa, most of them, they just want to impress people they don't know. They're all here, like, they want to say something, they want to beef on online, they want to beef on Instagram live. They're like, So when are you guys building? And then you guys are complaining about so I was on the Web Summit, and we met the CEO of a big record company. Actually, also a friend of mine met the CEO of Empire. And so I think 5 big artists that were on that label died. And the guy said that every time he has a contract with somebody, he also take a life insurance, because he knows that these people, because they're not living the ghetto, he signed them, they do a 50-50 deal, I guess, and then he takes a life insurance for in part of his contract. He takes a life insurance because he's investing in a product that he knows might not last long. So when these guys die, he makes tens of millions of dollars. And you look at him like, that's a little cynical now. And he's like, no, I'm investing my money. You know, like all these people, and they tell you, I think he comes from Palestine. And the guy was telling my friend, like, hey, listen, I know what suffering is. And I understand that it's a business and you invest your money, but those people, once they arrive to a certain point, you see them with their glasses of strange syrups and their drugs, baby moms, crazy girlfriends, and a lot of strange people around you. And then, yeah, you get caught up in the beefs of the people that are with you, that maybe you grew up with, but that didn't go out of that life. And I mean, at a point you have to understand that you have to move on from stuff. And if you want to take your people with you, you have to teach them that we're moving on from something. You have to move on from all your problems. This is why something I always tell people when we talk about business is look at people in your agenda and look everybody that is useless and remove them from your agenda and remove them from your daily conversation, because they will not take you anywhere. They will just grab you down with them. And it's crazy to me that it happens at that level. And yeah, I mean, listen, it's sad situations, because you see a whole generation of artists that all my legends, except, you know, rest in peace Guru, B.I.G., Tupac, but a lot of my legends, they are still here. Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Naughty by Nature, Third Base, like Group Home, Premier, Nas, Didi, all these people, they're still here. And they are showing you the way. They are, you know, but this generation, the internet generation, a lot of these, like from XXXTentacion to the Migos, they all like, a lot of them are gone. They do a hit, they change that, and then they're gone. And most of the time it's for nothing. And most of the time it's because of the same people that are yelling that Black Lives Matters. So matters to who? I don't know.